questions. I made 25 thinking if we went over 25, people could share. So if you're sitting with someone and you could share, that would be good to put one back. And because I'm glad to see so many people here tonight. Opening remarks. First of all, I want us all to welcome Demontre Odom, who's here for his first time this evening, sitting in the back row. He's been studying Judaism. He's taken the URJ Intro to Judaism course that I think some of the others of you have taken, and has been meeting with me, so we welcome him. For the police car out there tonight from KPD, because they said they would look in on us tonight. So I got a wonderful call from Chief of Police Patton this week, and he talked to me about how they are going to take care of our community, the Jewish community, and are looking out for us during this difficult time. He also mentioned that he had been at they all stand with Israel in the Jewish community. It was very comforting to hear that, and I hope you all feel good about his reaching out to us and sharing that with us. In addition, I've got a message here from Lori Hawkins, who is the organizer for KUSH. You know, Congregations United to Serve Humanity is our interfaith faith groups in the city. And she asked me early in the week, should we be doing something? Should we have an event? I felt that we probably really shouldn't come together as an interfaith community, but she wanted to make a statement about where she stands as the executive director of KUSH. So I'll just briefly read that to you. To be an advocate for the impacted. The events in Israel and Gaza this past week have been horrific to watch unfold. As a non-Jew and a non-Muslim American citizen, these events and the climate of this region are difficult for me to understand. I've been reading Western and non-Western sources of information and have been talking with KUSH when it comes to these issues that so greatly affect our KUSH member congregations. Please know that although I have no words to effectively express the depths of my sorrow and worry over the violence, chaos, and abductions for all who are affected to any degree, I hold this faith home and its members in my heart. Community in peace, Lori Hawkins. So I don't know how many of you know that KUSH, we are the home of KUSH in Kenosha. Their offices are here in our building. Many of their meetings are here in our building. And she and KUSH are allies with us at this difficult moment. So we're going to begin with Ki Eshmerah. The words mean, if I keep Shabbat, God will keep me. Ki Eshmerah Shabbat. Ki Eshmerah Shabbat El Yishmereni, Ki Yishmereni, Oti Le'omei Ad Beino Uveni, Oti Le'omei Ad Beino Uveni. These throughout the service. The first one, Rabbi Nachman's prayer for peace. Rabbi Nachman was a Hasidic master. And we'll read responsibly by paragraph. May it be your will, Holy One, our God, our ancestors' God, that you erase war and blood, peace, so that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Rather, may all the inhabitants of the earth recognize and deeply know this great truth, that we have not come into this world for strife and division. We have come here only to encounter you, eternal blessed one. And so we ask your compassion upon us. Raise up by us what is written. I shall place peace upon the earth, and you shall lie down in safe and undisturbed and through your land. But let justice come in waves like water, and righteousness flow like a river. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Holy One, as the waters cover the sea. So may it be, and we say, Amen. We continue now on page 6, bottom of the page, I believe. Anyway, the song is Lo Yisagoy El Goy Charav. These are the words that were just in Rabbi Nachman's prayer. Yes, it's the last song on the page. From Isaiah chapter 2, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor study war anymore. Lo יסגור מלחמה, לא יסגור גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יסגור גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. And we continue with the candle blessing on page 121 and 120. I don't see the person who has the honor of the candle blessing tonight. Would someone like to take that honor this evening? Thanks, Danya. So if you want to read the reading on the top of 121, and Gabriella, thank you. Just do the English at the top of 121 and then light the candles and say the blessing.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we remind us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you so much. And we enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. It's guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Together, now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we the harshness of the week. Let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We continue on page 130 as we join in singing from Psalm 95, just the serve in Israel, Rabbi Or Zohar of the Galilee region, and his wife Feliza wrote the music for these two verses of this psalm, and we are thinking about everybody in Israel and all that they are having to endure at this moment. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena l'Adonai, nekadma fana b'toda, lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena l'Adonai. We continue on page 138 as we join in singing Lachad Odi, verses 1, 2, 5, as we welcome Shabbat to our lives as if it were a bride coming into our midst. Lechad Odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechad Odi likrat kala pnei Dodi. Lechad Odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechad Odi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor uchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem u'letiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'neilcha, ki hi mekor havira, merosh mikedem ניסוחה סוף מעשה במחשבת מילה. אותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך אותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5. הידורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 9. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Psalm 92, the psalm for Shabbat. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. With a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre, how great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your design. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Together, the righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God, attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock, in whom there is no wrong. We continue on 144 as we rise. Yikada v'yikada shemei Rabbah, be'alma divarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala, u'vizman kariv yimeru, Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam ul'almei amromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudasha le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. La 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 ya, la 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 la. Page 148 together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arif et hazmanim u'misader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla Umabdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai imloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on day and night. We will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. 152. Shema Yisrael Adonai echad. Baruch Shem Kavod. are seated. 154 together. Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, uv'chol meodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha anecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letota zuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדון מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Emet. Instead of a reading provided in the Siddur before Michamocha, I'll have you take up your stapled sheet. And on the back, there was that moment at the Red Sea when our people despaired like never before. Looking behind, the people saw an enemy coming for them. Looking ahead, the waters seemed ready to swallow them up. To stand still was not an option. We pray. Eloheinu v'Elohim is divided. When people are afraid, when our children are confused, when we ourselves are unsure about how to move forward, grant us, like Nachshon, the courage to face our fears and walk forward into the unknown. Like Miriam, the insight to find the hidden waters in the wilderness to quench our thirst, difficult questions in the days and months ahead. Like the prophet Nathan, the faith to speak truth to power, demanding, as he did from King David, truth and justice, compassion and kindness together. And may we lie down in peace and rise up each tomorrow refreshed. And we continue now with Michamocha on 158. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'fele, noa tehilot, o seifele. Malchutecha uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai Va'ed. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob and saved him from a hand stronger than his own. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. We continue on 160. Our God, bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over us. And we join in singing the Chatima. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalayim ve'al kol amo ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol shalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. continue on 162 as we join in the Shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'yuvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash We continue now as we prepare ourselves for the tefillah section of the service. I ask you to please rise. And instead of turning to our usual pages where we meditate, to think about as we privately and quietly prepare ourselves for the tefillah section of the service. We continue for tefillah on page 182, not our usual pages. When we're doing something the imahot, the shortened version of the tefillah, that in a few paragraphs summarizes all of the 7 prayers in that section. So we'll start on 182 with just the beginning part of the Avot Imahot up to the matriarchs, and then we'll continue. Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu be'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei. Reading on 183 that covers all the themes of the tefillah responsively. Let us praise Adonai, source of knowledge and light, from whom we draw wisdom and insight. Let us savor the fullness of each and every day and fill our souls with the treasures of Shabbat. And let us appreciate these purpose from drift. Let us affirm our covenant as God's people. Let us honor those who study Torah. Let us uphold the truth of ongoing revelation. Let us celebrate the glory of our tradition and draw refreshment from the well springs of prayer. Let us respect tradition and encourage the needy, embrace of the stranger, and then spread the canopy of peace over all the world. We are seated. I'm going to be adding a couple of these other special prayers that have been written or put together during this very trying week. For Our Souls by Rabbi Lauren F. Werber. Responsively. Golda Meir is said to have stated, "We can forgive the Arabs for killing our children, but we can never forgive them for forcing us to kill their children. We, as a people, in the name of freedom and security, for the sake of the undying dream of peace, with hearts on the edge of breaking, our people have been called to kill and to be killed. Through the gruesome harshness of battle, despite the soul-crushing savage of war, in the face of willingness to soften our hearts, to safeguard our souls, to hold tight to our humanity and compassion. Just as you reminded us when we crossed the sea toward freedom that our enemies remain your children, remind us today and every day that death and devastation. May we remember to cry for all victims of terror and hate in our land of Israel, in Gaza, and wherever they suffer and fall. May we remember that we do not seek vengeance, and we do not revel in killing, but rather we grieve that we nashim, in a place where no one is human. Hishtadel lihiot ish. We must strive to be human. As we fulfill this terrible and holy mission, as we witness inhumanity and devastation, help us to be human, to feel the pain of all who hurt, and still guard our souls as we march to war. We join together in singing Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, spread over us the sukkah of your peace. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, spread over all of us the sukkah of shalom, spread over all of us a sukkah. The next reading by Rabbi Jill Hausman, a prayer for all people. Let's read this one together. Eternal Source, as you are the one who gives life to all, we pray for all our brothers and sisters of every race, religion, nation, to feel you in the warmth of every human heart. Teach us to love and to heal each other, to make peace and to respond to each other's needs. As we inhabit one earth, we are one human family with one divine parent. As you send blessings to us, prosperity, insight, wisdom, and joy, and help us to be a blessing. If we have a vision of a time of peace and harmony, surely we and you, Eternal One, have dreamed it together. We continue on page 178 with Shalom Rav. Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam, Ki Atahu Melech Adon, Atahu Melech Adon, L'chol HaShalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha U'be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol ubechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam, Tasim Le'olam, Tasim Le'olam. O Yisrael Bashalom. We take this time for silent prayer and meditation. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimroma ve'al kol Israel ve'imru. Amen. Ve'al kol Israel. Amen. We will come back to the readings in a little while. At this time, I will turn to page 372. I think that's wrong. 362 maybe for the Torah service. Should know that page by now. 360. To join me on the bima as we rise to take the Torah from the ark. Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema ol olamim udmem mashaltecha bechol dor vador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai varech et amo v'shalom. Page 364. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah. In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Baruch Shenatan Torah, 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 Le'amo Yisrael, Bikdu Shato. Page 366, together. Shema Yisrael, I Echad. Together. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. We turn toward the ark. Shemo Yachdav. Take a walk. Lecha Adonai Hagedula V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Havaretz Ki Hol V'Shamayim U'Va'aretz Lecha Adonai Hamamlacha Ve'amit Naseh Lechol Uva'aretz Ki Hol V'Shamayim Uva'aretz Lecha Adonai Hamamlacha Ve'amit Naseh Lechol. Go sit. Have a seat. Shlosha Devarim. Shlosha Devarim. Ha'olam Omed. Shlosha Devarim. Put that there. And a little pillow. Devarim. Ha'olam. Push it all the way up. Want to do it? Al HaTorah. Ve'al HaAvodah. Get up with it. Lud Chasadim Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gemilud Chasadim. Dressings. They're orange mantles and they're blue binders because we've started all over again. We're starting at the beginning of Genesis. I'm going to be reading tonight from chapter 4 of Genesis, and if you wish to follow along, in Chumash on page 24, or in the blue the blue Hertz Chumash, page 13. This is the story of the birth of the first two children, Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve's first section that I'm going to be reading. It's about how they're born and they grow up, and one of them is a shepherd and the other is like a farmer, and they both bring offerings to God, and it's not explained why, but for whatever reason, God favors one of their offerings more than the other. Infuriates Cain, and you may remember the story. He decides to kill his brother over this. It's an unbelievable story that, the very first two children. Of course, the rabbis are all over themselves about how could this have happened, and why would other. There are many different explanations as to why this happened, but one of the messages at least seems to be that, things aren't always fair. Life isn't always fair, and justice isn't always done. And yet we have to learn to live. Sages and the commentators come up with this very challenging and difficult Torah portion. I'm calling to the Torah this evening Naomi Weissman-Zabler and Amanda Troutman, the mother and daughter team. Ta'amod Naomi bat Shraiga Faivel Umiriam Ta'amod.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah.
V'ha'adam yada et Chava ishto, v'tahar v'teled et Cain v'tomer kaniti ish et Adonai el vayehi hevel ro'et son v'Cain haya uved adama vayehi miketz yamim vayavo Cain Mi'evel hevi gam hu mi'bechorot sono u'mechel vehen vayisa Adonai el hevel ve'et minchato ve'el Cain ve'el minayin me'od vayiplu panav. Vayomer Adonai el Cain, lama chara lecha, v'kama naflu fanecha, halo tetiv lefetach chatav rovetz, ve'elecha tishukato, ata tim shalbo.
Torah temet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Thank you.
Do you want to sit with it too after? Just go sit and I'll bring it to you. That's fine. We rise as we lift it. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe libnei v'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Please be seated. And I can take it and put it in the stand so that you can go back down. We continue with the Mishaberach for those in need of healing. You can find the words on page 371. As we say the Mishaberach this evening, we think of congregation members who are in need of healing. Todd Letvin, Shmuel ben Meshav Esther, Lisa Alexander, Leah Michal bat Rezel Chaya, Naomi Weissman Zabler and Yaakov, Mary Beth Maikrut, Esther bat Abraham Besara, Barney Lavin, Baruch Eliyahu ben Abraham Besara, William Jewell, Yisrael ben Abraham Besara, Chagai Mibeit Abraham Besara, I forgot the English, Stephen Saint. Any others? We also pray for healing for those who struggle against addiction and alcoholism, together praying for renewal of body and renewal of spirit. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'avotenu, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, ah. Continue now with the Haftarah portion for this Shabbat. We call up Jim Shapiro to read the Haftarah for us. If you would like to follow along, please turn to page 36 in your Eitz Chaim Humash. You got, hold on. 21 in the Hertz Humash. This is from Isaiah chapter 42. This is Deutero-Isaiah, the prophet of the exile, who lived with the exiles in Babylon and preached a message of hope to them that they would one day return to their land. And this, because it talks about God, extolling God as the creator of the earth and all that's in it, and in these verses, which are going to be 5 through 12, that Jim will read, it talks about how the people of Israel were meant to be part of that created world, to many of us, that we're put on this earth to light the way and show a path of goodness to the world. So, this is the before, and then the after down here. Okay.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has chosen faithful prophets for your servant Moses, for your people Israel, and for the prophets of truth and righteousness.
Start right at the beginning, even though it's the beginning of the portion is verse 5.
The next page?
And it continues on to that page, to 12.
Thus said God, the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what it brings forth, who gave breath to the people upon it and life to those who walk thereon, grasped you by the hand. And then on to here. Okay. I created you and appointed you a covenant people, a light of nations, opening eyes deprived of light, rescuing prisoners from confinement. I will not yield my glory to another, nor my renown to idols. See, the things once predicted have come true, and now I foretell new things. Announce to you ere they sprout up. Sing to the Lord a new song, his praise from the you, O coastlands and their inhabitants. Let the desert and its towns cry aloud, the villages where Kedar dwells. Let Selah's inhabitants shout, call out from the peaks of the mountains. Let them do honors to the Lord and tell his glory to the Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, rock of all creation, righteous one of all generations, the faithful God whose word is deed, whose ever command is just and true. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for rest, for honor and glory, we thank you and bless you. May your name be blessed forever by every living being. Praise to you, Adonai, for the Sabbath and its holiness.
Shkoach, thank you so much. We continue now with some special blessings that we say before we return the Torah to the 7. These prayers, this is the part of the service with prayers for our community, but we're going to be using some of the readings in the stapled sheets as well. So the first one is one of these landscape printed sheets that says Achenu. I noticed that many people were saying that we should recite Achenu, and I had never heard this prayer before, because it's a prayer about ransoming the captive. I've always learned that ransoming the captive, or in Hebrew, pidyon shivuzim. But at least as in my own awareness, I was not aware of a situation where Jews were in captivity during my lifetime. And now, of course, we know that there are many Jews in captivity in Gaza because of the terrible terrorist attacks last Saturday. Two of us were at the Jewish community gathering at the Chabad Center on whatever night that was, Tuesday night. And they played it on a recording and sang it. So I'm just going to read a little bit of the Hebrew and then Achenu kol beit Yisrael hanetunim b'tzara uvashivya, for our siblings, the whole house of Israel, who are given over to trouble or captivity, whether they abide on the sea or on the dry land. Together, may the all-present have mercy of us from darkness to light and from subjection to redemption, speedily and soon. And now we'll go to 377, prayer for the state of Israel, which we often recite at our services. But tonight we're going to add a special of Israel is recited, and it's a prayer for the Israel Defense Forces, which you can find in the next sheet in your handout. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. And then adding, Misha berach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, blessings to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to our mothers, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah. Bless the soldiers of Israel's defense forces and all who stand guard in order to protect the land of Israel. Give them strength against our enemies and strengthen their spirit to preserve their highest moral values at this time, so that they will return in peace and joy to their family, friends, and may they prosper as human beings and citizens in their land. So to return the Torah to the Ark, we now turn to page 374 as we rise. Mayim vayarem keren le'amo tehila lechol chasidav livnei Israel. Hallelujah. Page 374 still. For I have given you good instruction. Do not abandon my Torah. Eitz chaim hi lamo mecha מאושר דרכיה, דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו. This week's parasha is best known for the creation story of one human being murdering another. And in fact, as you've heard, they're brothers. Competition, perceived inequity, and envy fuel Cain's rage, and he kills his brother Abel. After the evil deed, God asks Cain, is well known. Lo yadati, I don't know. Hashomer achi anochi, am I my brother's keeper? This week has seen the inevitable and tragic extension of this story. We Jews and the Arab peoples are siblings. We share a common ancestor, Abraham. The Arab peoples derive from Abraham's son Ishmael. We, the Jews, are descendants of Abraham's other son, Isaac. But through history, for too long we have said about each other, am I my brother's keeper? That is, of what concern is the other to me? I will pursue my goals, and you will pursue yours, and when they clash, we won't talk and kill each other, if that's what it takes. Regrettably, the land that we love and support and call our homeland, Israel, is the primary issue over which our two peoples have clashed, and that particular centuries. In Genesis, God chastises Cain. What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Reflecting on this past week, we feel the accusation hurled against so much blood, so much brutality, so many innocents murdered and held captive, so much deprivation and death. And let's be honest, the ground is oozing blood on both sides. Has shown themselves to be cruel, barbaric, and heartless terrorists. The scale of the pain they inflicted on our people, and not only our people, by the way, but some of the people who were hurt and killed were Arabs. The scale with which they did it is almost impossible to bear. The statistics are too staggering to comprehend. More Jews killed in one day since the Holocaust. Hundreds of revelers at a dance party. At least 150 innocent people taken captive. Mothers and children, elderly people in wheelchairs, peace activists, and more. And for what reason? It's simple. Because they were Jews. The also claim was reason enough for Hamas to carry out these atrocities. But let's be clear, Hamas is not one and the same as the Palestinian people. It is wrong to paint an entirely all Muslims were viewed by many Americans as terrorists or potential terrorists. We hear this kind of talk now. We must stop ourselves from accepting this offensive stereotype and suppress the desire for revenge. In community, because also in this week's Torah portion, we're told that every human being was made B'Tselem Elohim, every human being. in the image of God. As Nicholas Kristof wrote, if we owe a moral responsibility to Palestinian children, their lives have equal weight. If you care about human life only in Israel or only in Gaza, then you don't actually care about human life. I believe that we concern for the Palestinian people. Now, this is a scary time, and Jews feel justifiably wronged and justifiably worried. When fears overtake us and we know that right is on our side, we tend to, it's a natural response, but it is not a response that brings about change or leads to a new future. Instead, both sides of this conflict must hear God's insistent questions, first asked in Genesis. Where is your brother Abel? Must find a way to reject the self-centered response that throws back the cynical question, am I my brother's keeper? A question which says, those other folks are in the way of my goals and aspirations, or a response that says, they hurt us, so let's hurt them back. The only way forward for our people in the state of Israel, for the Jewish people as a whole, and for the Palestinian people is to assert that in every corner of the world. And while right now we have to focus on Pidyon Shivuyim, the redemption of the captive, healing the wounded, accompanying the dead for burial, and rooting out the perpetrators, two siblings must hear the blood crying out from the ground and come together to achieve their aspirations, even if they are in conflict with each other. I know it sounds impossible, but there is no other way. I'd like you to take up the next reading in your packet, called For Peace in the Middle East. Sons of Abraham, sons of Hagar and Sarah, of Isaac and Ishmael, have you forgotten the day we buried our father together? Have you forgotten the day we carried his dead body into the cave near Hebron? Have you forgotten the day we entered the darkness of Machpelah, Esau and Jacob? Have you forgotten the day we made peace? The day we set aside past injustices and deep wounds to lay down our weapons and live? We too buried our father together. Have you forgotten that we took Isaac's corpse into that humble? I don't remember crying with you. Sister, I don't remember mourning with you. We should have cried the tears of generations. We should have cried the tears of centuries, the tears of fatherless sons and motherless daughters, so that we would remember in our flesh that we are one people, divided only by time and history. One God, my brother calls you Allah, my sister calls you Adonai. You speak to some through Moses, you speak to some through Muhammad. We are one family, cousins, Holy One, light of truth. In the name of justice and peace, help us to remember our history, to mourn our losses together, so that we may once more lay down our weapons and live. God of all being, bring peace and justice to the land and joy to our hearts. Aleinu, page 586, and what we're going to do is finish the service and then have time for responses and conversation, and we will turn off the live stream for your responses. 586, we rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כהם, וגואלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים למלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש. Page 589. על כן נקווה לך, אדוני אלוהינו, לראות מהרה בתפארת עוזך, לתקן עולם במלכות שדי. Together, Adonai, our God, covenant drawn from human and divine meeting. 591. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא עד, ושמו אחד. We continue on page 597. As I read a meditation about or who have experienced the death of a dear one in recent weeks or months to rise during the meditation. Remember our people who suffered and died so that we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow, for their dreams left unfulfilled. Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be our inspiration and strength. For life cut short and vision unrealized, we remember. Remember the fallen of our armed services, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness with our land and in love with life. For the agony, the tears, the mothers and the fathers, for the children who were and for the children yet to be, we remember. On this Shabbat at Beth Hillel Temple, we mark the yard sites of Jacob Shalou, Frida Aronson, Morris Schrader, David Richmond, Rabbi Regina Jonas, Melvin R. Thompson, Charles Gordon, Edward Block, Joseph Castle, May Goldstein, Nettie Katchen, and Portia Rothschild. Zichronam livracha is for Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabah, be'alma divarach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'yizbarach l'alam u'lamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata, v'nechemata da'amira min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen, oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us, and let us say a message.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
On behalf of the Leadership Council of Beth Hillel Temple, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all who have joined us this Shabbat for supplying this evening's pre-oneg. There is no oneg after services. We will be ending the live stream following the closing song and then staying together in the sanctuary to enable those present to respond to Rabbi Feingold's sermon without remarks being shared on social media. Other temple information is found at the temple website, and e-news with current information was sent on Thursday. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And the closing song will be Hatikva, Israel's national rescue to rise. Kol od balevav peni omiyah. Yafate Mizrach Kadima, Ein Letzion Sophia, Od Lo Avda Tikvateinu, Lehiotam Hovshi Be'artzeinu, Be'eretz Zion Yerushalayim, Lehiotam Hovshi Be'artzeinu, Be'alayim. Shabbat Shalom.